Welcome to Chris Park and Shooting Sports. This is the Savage 110 KLYM in 6.5 Creedmoor. Now this is an ultra lightweight rifle from Savage. It weighs just 2.8 kilograms, which is, just over 6 pounds. And it combines a carbon fibre back end, carbon fibre fore end, polymer centre section on the stock, but because it's got a proof research carbon wrap barrel as well. Now, I'm not always a fan of carbon wrap barrels. I think they can be a little bit of a sales promotion, but I do have a proof research barrel. I've used a few proof research barrels, and they are not only very accurate, they are also incredibly thermally stable, which is the big thing about carbon barrels for me. Now, this barrel is 22 inches or 560 millimeters long. It's threaded 5/8 24 at the front, and it comes with this pepper pot muzzle brake. It's 90 millimeter diameter, and they call it a Sendero profile, but it's basically a straight taper all the way back to the action. Now the action on this is a blueprinted action, which I presume means by Savage it's made to slightly tighter tolerances unchecked. It uses the familiar Savage barrel nut to control headspace, and as well as being stainless steel, it's cerakoted in this midnight colour. There are some relief cuts in the side here, it removes a little bit of weight from it, and it comes with a 20 MOA Picatinny rail attached for scope mounting. The bolt is Savage's usual 2-lug bolt. So that pops out here, we can see it. We've got a plunger ejector and a claw extractor there. And that floats when it rotates, so it gives you a good lock-up, seals all the gases, everything like that. And these are usually pretty reliable. Now this is also cerakoted like the action. It's got the diamond milling pattern on it, and it runs very smoothly in the action. And of course that diamond milling will also help if you've ever got any dust, debris problems like that. The bolt release system on a Savage combines this button here with the trigger, and that will put that back in there like that. Now it's 2-lug bolt, so it's 90 degrees. It's a 55 millimeter handle approximately, and it's got a 25 millimeter carbon fibre ball tip on the end. One of the slight things about this is that the carbon fibre ball tip is quite large, and it doesn't give you a huge amount of space around the scope to operate the bolt. So you will see me on the video, it's not quite as slick as some rifles I've used before. Bolt handles that are too long can make the bolt stall a little bit, but I think on this one it'll be fine. But it could just be a little bit longer, a little bit curved down. There's a cocked action indicator on the back of the bolt shroud here, and it's got a 3-position safety catch here, which is forward for fire, middle allows bolt operation, and then rearward locks the bolt completely. And it's got the Savage Aki trigger on it, which on this one came in at 950 grams. These are adjustable from about 800 to about 1900 grams, and I'll put the specifications in the description to go with it. The magazine is a detachable unit, pops off like that. We've got a button on the front, easy to use, doesn't jam. You can put it back in or out without any problems of it stalling or staggering going in. Now, interestingly, it's got steel feed lips on it, and as well as being able to front load it, you can also click the bullets straight into the top, which does make life very easy, and it means you can also load it in the gun if necessary. Now, of course, the Savage AccuTrigger, it was very crisp in use, and it does have this inner safety blade which gives it a greater safety capability. These are now celebrating a 20th anniversary for Savage, and although some people don't like them, I don't mind them at all, because to me it feels just like using a two-stage trigger. You just depress the centre safety and click, off the gun goes, and you've got no problem at all having nice, light, crisp trigger pulls. And in US rifles, that used to be something you didn't see very often until Savage came along, but that now is super crisp, very predictable, makes it easy to shoot. Right, looking at the stock, we have got a carbon fibre forend. On that forend we've got a sling stud on the front here, and we've also got a magnetic socket on the bottom there, which I presume fits bipods like Spartans and things like that. Now this is paper thin, and although it does float away from the barrel, that's only really at static position, and once you put a bipod on it or anything like that, it will come into contact. But of course this carbon fibre barrel is super stiff, and you don't seem to have any problems with any zero shift or anything like that. So although it doesn't theoretically look good, it actually doesn't seem to cause a problem. But it's hollow and it is a little bit tappy. The carbon fibre finish is of course very attractive, and it's been left bare like that. We've got finger grooves on the sides, there's plenty of space to hold on to, and it makes it a very comfortable rifle to carry and to use. I shot it from rest bags because I didn't have a bipod that would fit into the magnetic slot, but I don't mind shooting from rest bags because often they're more forgiving of rifles anyway, and other than being less portable than a bipod, they are quite nice to shoot from. Now the centre section of the stock from here to here is polymer, and it's got a stippled finish on it. That has the inlet for the actual action to fit into, and of course it's incompressible, so when you've got your two bedding screws in place, one at the front, one there, that makes sure it locks into position well, you don't have any applied stress to it. The back end of the stock goes back to being carbon fibre again. You've got a nice ambidextrous grip here, big thumb hole, so you can shoot it right or left-handed. As far as I can find out, the gun is only available with a right-handed bolt. Ergonomically, other than that, it is fine to shoot left-handed in a backup shot situation. Now, it's got an adjustable cheek piece on it. This is a single layer of carbon fibre, and you've got a button on the side here which allows you to push that down, and that will spring up and down into position where you want it and then lock in place. It's 140mm long, it's got about 30mm of up and down movement on it. Length of pull on the rifle is 13 3/4 inches, solid rubber recoil pad, but again it's a 6.5 Creedmoor with a brake. It's got very little recoil at all. That grips well into your shoulder pocket, and you do get a very comfortable position on the gun with good alignment behind the optic. There are two screws in the recoil pad, so theoretically if you wanted to, you could take that off and increase the 350mm with some spacers on the back here. There's relief here for the rear stud, and you've got a slight bag rider there just to position it either onto your fist or on a rear shooting bag if you wanted to do something a little bit more precision with it. So, shooting the rifle, what's it like? Well, there'll be a lot of details on screen, so I won't go into all the nitty-gritty verbally for you, but actually very nice to shoot. It's got very soft recoil, of course, with it being a Creedmoor with a brake on it in terms of the physical actual movement from the gun repelling you backward. More importantly though, it doesn't have any muzzle lift on it because of course the brake keeps that down. I shot it with the brake off as well, and you can see the difference in the video, the brake on, brake off, bit more muzzle flick with the brake off. But even then, the recoil transit is totally linear, so it comes into your shoulder without splaying off to one side or anything like that. Now of course, in the UK, I think a lot of shooters are going to put a sound moderator on it, or in the US they'll call it a suppressor. I think you want to go for the lightest weight one possible because of course it is a very lightweight rifle. But unlike many lightweight rifles, it does still maintain a feeling of solidity and security, which many of the others seem to shed when they shed all that weight. And although this one, you know, it is physically lightweight, it doesn't feel sort of whippy or skinny or anything like that. You've got plenty of grip to grab onto here. You know, it's not got a little tiny thin open radius grip on it. You've still got a good vertical pistol grip. You can get a good secure hold, shoot it from multiple positions. I also shot it from a tripod, so I had the clamp on there, and I was using the clamp basically right here, so I still had access to the magazine, but I wasn't moving too far into the forend. There was no zero shift issue with that. The trigger is totally predictable. I'm actually very happy with Accu triggers, and I don't have a problem with it at all, but I know some people don't like them. I don't have that opinion. I get on with them just fine. Bolt operation, as I said, it's a little bit fiddly around the scope, but that will depend on which scope you have. This Schmidt & Bender on here does have a particularly large ocular body on it, so a smaller scope with a slightly smaller eyepiece wouldn't be as problematic like that. You could of course put taller scope rings on, but this is a 42mm scope, and even then that's going to fit with a 50mm objective on there if you wanted to in that ring height. The Picatinny rail is quite long, and I suppose there may be some scenarios where you would want a slightly longer scope anyway than this, just to make sure it's coming over the front of the Picatinny rail. As I say, this particular setup, no problems for me to shoot it, but just bear that in mind depending on what you're going for. The safety catch is operable silently. There's no problem with ammunition feed from the magazine, and if you drop a single round in the ejection port, it will load straight to the chamber. The bolt does need just a gentle ease forward when you close it down, and you will tend to see me on sometimes. I did have my finger on the front of the trigger guard like that, just so I could hold the bolt down quite easily without pushing the rifle out of my shoulder. Overall length is 1130mm, which is 44.5 inches. That is, you know, absolutely par for the course, and you do still get great muzzle velocities because it's got that good 22-inch barrel on it. You're not sacrificing velocity and energy from it. One of the ammunition types, the Hornet ELDX, actually gave me more than the box velocity on it, so that was pumping out plenty of energy, certainly for any UK shooter. Overall weight of 2.8 kilograms, which is 6.2 pounds, is of course ideal for a rifle, which is named the KLYM, intending perhaps that you are going to climb somewhere with it, or certainly stalk and hunt in arduous terrain. Twist rate on the barrel is a 1 in 8 inch, so you'll have no trouble stabilising the heavier 6.5mm bullets, and I did test it with copper ammunition as well. There were no problems with using the Hornady CX bullet, which is 120 grains in use. That bolt handle is actually threaded on there, so you can remove it if you want it. So if you want to modify that for your personal preference, that's up to you. But for now, there you go. That's me and the Savage KLYM in 6.5 Creedmoor. I think it's a good rifle. It's quite expensive. It's £3,300 retail in the UK, and thank you very much to Viking Arms for sending it for me. But I have to say, a lot of that money does go into these proof research barrels, and I have one of these proof research barrels in 7mm PRC, which is even hotter, and it still works remarkably well, even when it's incredibly hot. And this barrel showed me exactly the same temperament. The difference in point of impact on target at 100 metres between 3 different ammunition types was less than 1 click on the scope. That barrel stiffness and stability is partly to thank for that, but the point is I shot 10-15 rounds through it at times without any significant dispersion from a 1 MOA group, or in fact a significantly sub 1 MOA group. All three ammunition types produce the sub-MOA accuracy that people want from a stalking hunting rifle, so I really have no problem recommending the Savage KLYM because it does exactly what it says it will, and I think it's very visually distinctive with ideal handling capabilities for this kind of rifle. Right, well I hope you've enjoyed watching that review. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and click the notification bell to keep track of my regular uploads. Thank you for watching, bye for now.